We want to cross over to our City Center studios where we have Dr. Ekuru Aukot, who is the lead of Third Way Alliance, and also he is a former presidential candidate in the just concluded elections that were held in 2017. And many thanks for joining us, Dr. Ekuru. Perhaps what do you make of the recent developments following the swearing in of Raila Odinga as the people's president?
Okay, Abi, thanks for having me on the show. To be honest with you, I'm a bit disappointed that you're giving too much importance to nothing, to a process that is of no consequence, that is sheer nonsense, that even the people themselves who claim to be do not believe in it. And as you know, I mean, to be honest with you, I would not want to spend any of the time, of our valuable time here, discussing something that is of no consequence, no legal effect, no constitutional effect, something that is unconstitutional, something that is against our own law. I mean, as I said, even some of their own people do not believe in it. No wonder Mudavadi, Wetangula, Kalonzo Musyoka, who is supposed to be the deputy president to Raila Odinga, were missing in action in their own ceremony. So listen, whereas anybody can have a fantasy and dreams about wanting to be president, I think for me what is important for us to discuss is the constitutionality of what is happening today. I think for me that is the important point. It's not about the swearing ceremony itself, the constitutionality of it. Kenyans will recall that Article 3, sub-Article 2 of the Kenya Constitution declares unlawful any attempt by anyone to form a government otherwise than with the, in accordance with the Constitution. So really, I read nothing out of what has happened today. I think it's a waste of Kenyans' time, and I will urge Kenyans to look at Third Way Alliance Kenya 14-point agenda on what constitutes the national agenda for national conversation. We are talking about things like ending theft of public money. We are talking about water for every homestead in Kenya. We are talking about healthcare. We are talking about negative ethnicity. We are talking about strengthening devolution. You know, we are talking about reducing the size of parliament, unemployment, creation of jobs. Those are the things that I would like us to focus ourselves on. And I say this because
just to weigh,
that election...
Dr. Just to also give this...
I'm listening.
Let's give this issue some due consideration as well, because remember, Raila Odinga is the official opposition leader in the country, and over and above that, he has maintained that the other co-principals who are missing in action, he'll be giving explanations as to why they did not attend. Don't you think your sentiments are rather sort of a claim as of now?
No, first of all, he is not the official opposition. Official opposition means that you actually recognize there is a government in place. In this particular case, the government of President Uhuru. Therefore, you play opposition politics to it. In fact, even if you were to entertain this nonsense for a moment, and let me entertain it for the sake of Kenyans, assuming, for example, that even this swearing in has any waters to it, that then confirms that Ekuru Aukot and Third Way Alliance Kenya are then the official opposition to both the governments of President Uhuru and Raila Amolo Odinga. Because you cannot say you are official opposition at the same time swearing yourself in as president to form a parallel government as they have promised. So I mean, come on. I mean, we can have this. I mean, listen, may I consider this an academic exercise? Or just a comical situation. We can discuss it in comical ways, but as a matter of fact, somebody has to play proper opposition politics. And right now, there is nobody else who can play that opposition politics other than Third Way Alliance Kenya that came number 2 or number 3, depending on your interpretation of the results of 26 October 2017.
And Dr. just taking this conversation forward now, of course, this particular event cannot go unnoticed across the country. And one of the issues that is up for discussion right now also is the fact that 3 major TV stations, that being KTN, NTV, Citizen TV, were shut off so as to not broadcast this particular event. As the purported opposition leader, what are your sentiments around this?
Well, first of all, I mean, I totally disagree with the government action of shutting down the media stations. I mean, that is against the Constitution of Kenya. And if you look at Article 24 of the Kenya Constitution, I think that's where we must begin the debate. Article 24 talks about the limitation of rights and fundamental freedoms. But it also says this, that a right or fundamental freedom in the Bill of Rights shall not be limited except by law. And I'm assuming here, Jubilee government may have used the Public Order Act as the law. And it says, and then only to the extent that the limitation is reasonable and justifiable in an open and democratic society based on human dignity, blah, 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 taking into account all relevant factors, including A, the nature of the right or fundamental freedom itself. Now, what is the nature of the right and fundamental freedom that is being frustrated here? I guess it's the right to information, the right to media press under Article 35, if I'm not wrong, or no, 34. Now, you cannot also broadcast, for example, information that will cause hate, will cause dissatisfaction, that will cause a disorder in government. And I guess that is why this situation is all unfortunate. But I will say this to you, Gina. Whereas I sympathize with the media houses for this unfortunate action of being shut down, let's also face the realpolitik. The realpolitik is that the media in Kenya, especially some of the editors in the media houses, have themselves been more of politicians than even the politicians they cover. So this is a case of you shooting yourself in the foot, because on the one hand, you are biased politically in the way you are reporting and the way you behave. And now when you are caught up flat-footed, you start claiming freedom of the media. I am, for all intents and purposes, I would like to protect freedom of the media, but also where the media houses themselves or the journalists are neutral, are actually playing the fourth estate, not behaving as part of the political class, not behaving as part of the government. And we all know, Ben, that there are many of your bosses out there who are actually politicians par excellence. So, whereas I disagree with the government of President Uhuru for shutting down the media, but justification has also been given in the manner in which the media houses have behaved towards the politics of the day. I mean, I can remind you, for example, last year during the presidential debates, in which the media houses discriminated outrightly against 6 other presidential candidates, including myself. They only favored reporting the presidency of President Uhuru Kenyatta, the candidate of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and that of Raila Amolo Odinga. They never looked at the law. So look, if you ask someone like me, I said, okay, yes, I want to protect the principle of freedom of the media on reporting, which is guaranteed under our Constitution. But if your conduct is such as to even undermine your own right and freedom, then you should not be crying foul.
And Daktari, just a one-line answer from you. I just want to know, do you feel the recent allegations that came out, of course, from the Editors Guild, that there was an element of intimidation, where we did see a number of managers attend a meeting at State House? Perhaps is the executive trying to muzzle the press? What's your take on this?
Well, I think it's a straightforward thing, Ben. The executive is not trying to. It has actually muzzled the press. By shutting down the press today, they are confirming actually that they're interfering with media freedom. But like I said, we need to look at Article 24 of the Kenya Constitution in terms of how do you limit rights? What is it that you take into consideration in limiting those rights? For example, I think one of the issues that are not being discussed, and today I was watching Akili Ogola in your earlier program, and he made a very sound argument that if the actions of individuals is such as to cause disorder, is such as to propagate, for example, for the formation of a parallel government, which is against Article 3, sub-Article 2 of our Kenya Constitution, if their action is such as to be treasonable, I mean, to cause treason, to cause disharmony, to incite violence, to incite, incite people against the government of the day, a lawfully elected government of the day, then I think in that point, at that point in time, the freedom of the press on what you broadcast or the action of government will be justifiable. But in the action. And by the way, Ben, rights are not absolute. you cannot also say that you can exercise your right absolutely, sometimes at the expense of others. If your actions are such as to cause disorder, like we have had in the particular instance of NASA wanting to swear themselves in, they want to form a parallel government, they want to form a, to completely legitimize the election of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I mean, I don't agree with Jubilee entirely. I went against President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga as well in the concluded election. I was in the team that opposed the results of August 2017 election.
Yes.
The Supreme Court agreed with us. Then we were told, go back and repeat this election under the Constitution within 60 days. There was no any other